Hey, let's talk about living a life of intention instead of a life of being blessed. Let me talk about the difference. Stick around. So I woke up this morning and my son and Asher, both like my other little son type of guy, I think girlfriend's son, whatever, hangs out with me all the time. Both of them run into the bed, jump on me, wake me up. We have a really good time, and I realized, man, this is what I live for, man. I'm very fortunate. But at the same time, I'm tempted to say, man, I'm lucky or I'm blessed. And a lot of you say, oh, I'm really, really blessed. But let me talk about my specific situation and the intention behind it. You see, I grew up, I was adopted, and I didn't really have the best family situation. It wasn't absolutely horrible, but it wasn't the best. And at times it absolutely was horrible. But, you know, as a kid, you don't realize it until sometimes it's too late and everything else, right? So when I was actually in doing my time, right, in 2007, I actually wrote a business plan for what I wanted to be as a father. How I could be the dad that I never had. That's what I called it, right? So I went into having my son and being intentional about how I raise him and not just, and having a plan long before Jax wasn't born until 2011. So I had a plan in 2007, 2008 for an event that would happen later on in 2011. Yesterday when I picked Jax up from school, and I'm not saying this to brag on my son, even though I will, don't get me started. But yesterday when I picked Jax up from school, his principal of his school said, you know, you have the best, and in all my 18 years working at this school, you have the best and most well-behaved kid I have ever seen. I have never seen a kid with a gift like your son Jax does. And first of all, think about this, my kid, right? I fucking hated school. I was a heathen. I got my ass beat by the principal my very first day at school. But when I designed this plan for my son, I intentionally didn't want him to have to deal with the same path that I did. I knew that if he didn't adapt and start focusing and actually learn to love school, then things weren't going to be good on his end, and he was going to have to deal with the same suffrage that I had to, and I did not want that for him. So what I did was I designed how I was going to raise my son intentionally. Now, mind you, he's got great genes. His mother comes from a great family. He's got obviously my DNA in him, so he's a dynamic person as well. So don't get me wrong there, but at the same time, I don't want to discredit the work that his mother and I have put into him to raise him intentionally. Right? I look around at my girlfriend that I have. She's the woman that I intentionally designed in my life over a year ago. I wrote a plan, just like I wrote for my son, for the type of woman that I wanted to have in my life over a year ago. And it took all this time, a year ago, writing for an event that would show up today. Back in 2007, I had a dream one night when I was sleeping, which is usually, I guess, when dreams happen, that one day I would be leading events, making videos like this, and be this like personality that spread a different word to the world. And I wrote down exactly what I wanted to do, exactly who I could help, and exactly the type of lifestyle I wanted to live. An event in 2007 that wouldn't take place until 2014. And what I'm telling you for is I'm not saying that I'm blessed to be in all these situations. I'm not saying I'm not blessed, right? Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is this is a life of intent. This is me planning and speaking and doing exactly what needed to be done in order to achieve the results that you see before you today. And don't think any less of that or discredit any of the hard work. See, we discredit the hard work because we try to be quote unquote humble. And we say, oh, I'm blessed, as if somebody fucking else or something fucking else gave you that shit. But if you did that shit intentionally and you worked your fucking ass off for it and you owned it, you shouldn't say you were blessed. You should say that you intentionally deserved and reaped the rewards exactly as you so calculated them in the beginning. And that's what living a life of intention is. Share it if you dig it. Look out, here comes that motherfucking lizard.
You want some shit, man?